for everyone who joined in and who's watching from all over the globe. I don't know everyone personally, but thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And my name is Jorge Luis Castellanos. I'm 36 years old from Central America, Belize, and I've been working the slate carving for over 25 years. So it's like something that I started at a really young age when I was like 7 years old. Started working on carvings, and my my goal in artwork or in slate is that I try to represent and preserve the culture of the Maya because we're losing a lot of culture and tradition. So that's where I come in. When I was a little kid, people used to ask me what I want to be when I grow up. I told them that I wanted to be a tour guide, but looking at what's happening to the culture as a whole made me change my mind and decide to start working the slate. And the slate that I get comes from the Maya Mountains of Belize. So I have to where I am, I have to travel like 7 to 8 miles deep into the jungle, and we have to quarry out the slate by hand and drag it down the hilltop and bring it down. And from there, we bring it down here to my workshop. So like it's a hard process, and the stone, the hardness of the stone, it varies. We never get like one particular hardness, but most of the stone that comes from the river, which is the Makal River, it's the hardest one. So the closer or the stones that are in the river are harder than the one up in the hilltop. So we try to quarry most of the ones which are on the hilltop, which doesn't as is as hard as the one on the river, because sometimes even the blades that I use to carve, it doesn't work on them, because it's so hard. You need like Dremel or those special tools, and my goal is to keep it as authentic as possible, which is doing everything manually. Like my work, I never have or I never use an electrical tool like a grinder or Dremel. No, everything is 100%. The process is 100%. When I first get a piece of stone, the stone comes like and really rugged and stuff. But then I take it, and if you see, this is a piece which I already hold, and the piece here, this has been chopped with a machete. So I will use the machete and I will hold it with my hand, and then I will chop it with the machete, and then you get all the roughness that you see here. And then I will come down and will use my sandpaper, the thick grades, and I will sandpaper. So it's the process is by hand. And then I will take my pencil and I will draw on them. And people will usually ask me like, how long do you take to make your work? And I'm always telling people that when I work with the stone, it's never about what I am supposed to do or what I want to create with the stone. It's not like that. It's like what the stone tells me to do on it, that's what I'm supposed to do. So we have to connect with nature. We have to go back, like to connect with nature is something, or to make the work that I do is something that I think is deep inside of us, in the heart. But you have to dig deep for you to find that connection to it. Because most of the time, people want to do what they want with whatever they have, whatever they get. But that's not the case. When you work naturally, the process, everything, the universe just shows it at you every day, every single day you wake up. The ideas. I have some pieces of stone which I've been working on, and there's a piece in particular that I've been working like for more than a month and a half, 2 months, been working on it from when I started over a year and a half ago, and I haven't finished it. And I have a person who told me, Jorge, when you finish the work you're doing, please bring it to us. We want to see it. But you see how we are born on different times of the year, different months, different days. It's the same thing with the artwork. Once you connect with it, each piece of slate will be burned when the universe is ready to produce it. And each piece that I create, I know there's an owner, there's someone who's supposed to connect with it, because particularly here from my workshop where I am here, I have a look directly to the Mayan temple of Xunantunich in the distance, like 2 miles, 2 miles and a half. I can clearly see the temple. So like that is the kind of energy that I'm receiving, and I'm putting in every single piece of slate that I build. Like it's fully charged with the positive energy and the vibe that surrounds the area here that is so special. So that's the kind of energy that people take back home. And when they put it in their home, the piece is radiating this energy around and people come and connect to it. But it's because where it's being produced. And the slate itself that is found in the Maya mountains is it's like a sacred mountain. It's a sacred place for me. So I try to give as much value to the stone to as possible. It's not that value meaning that when the stone, sometimes my wife would tell me, Jorge, why are you doing so much on a stone? Don't you see it's a lot of work? You're gonna work hard. I'm like, I know, but that's what the stone's asking. There's nothing I can do about it. And once it's in my mind, it's my soul, it's like no one or nothing will take it out from me. So I like to work like intricate pieces. That's what I love most. Intricate meaning like the Maya spent months, weeks, or maybe years on a piece of work. So why can I spend maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or even days on a piece of work? So that's what most of the people are running from, is from the hard work that there is to make, because it's hard work. But when you connect to it, like you're not working, you're just enjoying it, you're creating. So like every time you do something, like it makes you happy, and that's the way I work. Each time I do my work, most of the pieces, they don't repeat itself. Like I don't have just Mayan calendars. I have different designs, and I make copies of stelas. And I met this guy once from Florida, whose name was George, and he's the one that showed me some of the value of my work. And he's the one that got me more into the detail work. And when I got into the detail work, is I don't want to get back to the normal stuff that I do. But then when people come around, most of the people don't want to buy intricate pieces because it's a lot of work. And when they ask for the price, sometimes it's a lot. But I'm not doing it for the money. It's what my heart wants to do and what the stone asked me. So it's like I'm like the transmitter. I'm just stick right in between the stone and the customer. So like that's what keeps me going every day. That I never know who the person is that I'm creating it for. I make it. If I don't like it, or if it's not doesn't make me happy, then I don't do it. So each piece is being done with a lot of love and straight from the heart. And today is a really special day for me here at the workshop, because today in the distance the sun aligns perfectly with the temple of Xunantunich. And when that happens, it's like it's a statement that our ancestor left for us, saying or showing us the connection that they had with the heavens or the gods. And what we have to see here, we don't see it anywhere else in Belize. And that's what I want to also introduce in the work in my slate carvings, because whenever I see the alignment, it gives me more courage for me to do more detailed stuff. And the tools that I use is not like um, high tech tools. Everything is done with blades. I have my blades, which are, see, like these are my tools that I use to carve. These are blades. These are old hacksaw blades that I use to carve. And depending on the job that I'm doing, that's the type of tool that I use. Different shapes for different parts of the artwork that we're doing or creating. And then my pen or my pencil is a grinded down nail. This is a nail, and it's grinded down with the point. And this is what I use to write on the stone. So I would draw it first with my pencil, and and then I would do it. And I will give you like a little insight. Like if you see this stone here, if you see this stone, the side here, you can already see a profile of a Maya. So like the stone is speaking volumes. So you would draw the face really quickly here on the stone with the pencil, and then I would come with the nail. And once I write it down with the nail, then it won't erase. So then I will start working on it with the blades. But most of the time, from the time I see a piece of stone, I can know what the stone is asking for, you know. And sometimes when I see it, it's like not convincing me. I still hold on and I try to wait. It's like sometimes I compare to the guys that do rapping, the guys that rap, do music. It's like there's a certain time of the day and the year when the creation or the idea just come to your head, and you have to be in tune to the surrounding and to the energy flowing. Because if you're not in tune, then the message will come and it will go, and you are not creating what is supposed to be done on the stone. So sometimes I would be doing something and I would get an image in my head and I have to leave everything that I'm doing. I have to run to my stone and I have to draw it and do it right at the moment. And then I can come back and work with it. But when it comes natural, you have to do it when the time is right. So I hope everyone's listening and maybe someone has an answer or they want a question. They want to know something.
I don't see any questions at the moment, Jorge.
Okay, well, yeah.
Do you
Well,
have
I'll
any
keep
examples of your finished work to share?
yeah, I have let's see if I can I will I will I will flip over the camera. I will see if yeah, they'll flip over the camera and then I will show people my work. Like this is this particular piece here, this is known as the Mayan god of spring. The Mayan god of spring, and if you see his dental work, his teeth, this is his teeth here. This is the guy's eye, the nose, and this is the nose, and these are the eyes like of a serpent. Like the Maya is emerging from inside of the serpent, and you could see the teeth, you could see the fangs, and these are like its tongue. It has two tongues sticking out, and this is the hand of the Maya. And if you look closely, or if you everyone looks closely, you will see that most of the pieces that I do or that are around, they're not perfectly round or perfectly square. I don't do that with the stone. So like when I'm working, it's never about what I want to do with the stone. It's the stone that tells me what I'm supposed to do. And this one right here, this is known as the medicine goddess, the eggshell. And if you see the snake in her head, always distinguish her. And this is the 19 months of the Mayan calendar. The Mayan calendar had 19 months, 18 months of 20 days each month, which is from Pop to Kumku. And then the last one, which is called Wayeb, only has 5 days. So when you multiply 18 by 20, it gives you 360, and the 5 extra days, it gives you 365. So basically, we're using the same Mayan calendar just because we use it on a different concept. And this one right here, this is a piece of obsidian, but green obsidian that I have here that it has been passed to me from my wife's father, which has been in the family for generations. Yeah, and this one here, this is known as Kinich Hanapakal, which is the king from Palenque. And this is another medicine goddess, the Ixchel. And you could see the profiles, and it's in the natural form of the slate. And here, this is also another one. This is a Maya who's paddling the canoe. And if you can see this like a wild turkey here, and this is the Maya with this paddle. And here, this is a very important sign or a glyph, because what this is depicting or what this is saying, this is the tamales sign. And for the Maya, the tamales sign is the cornmeal that they wrap in the banana leaves, and they put the meat inside, which is a traditional dish. And the armadillo on top of the sign, meaning that this is an armadillo tamales. So a guy showed me that the other day, I didn't know. And if you see the stone, it's natural, the inside. Now this is another intricate one. This is a really intricate one. This is a Mayan king who is holding the ceremonial bar, or known as the double-headed serpent. And if you see, this is the eye of the serpent. This is like the beards. This is the teeth, and from the mouth of the serpent, there is the deity, which is known as the Kawil, which is emerging from inside of the mouth of the serpent. And this one is on the left side, and this is the other one on the opposite side. And if you see the king, everything that it has on his head, all the wear, you could see all the different, this is a face. The detail is really interesting because this is, I love detail. So when you go to the books, you see it exactly, and look at the feather that it has in his head. And here on the side, way on the corner, this is um, this is the Mayan glyph, which represent a crystal maiden, which is a friend of mine, and this is her birthday, and this is my signature in Maya, because I have my signature as well in Maya. So when I do some of the pieces, not all of them, but the ones who are really intricate, I will sign them with my name in Maya. Most of them I will sign it just with my name and the pencils, but then some of them with my Maya name. And if you see here, there's the jaguar at the end of the piece. There's the jaguar, the symbol of power and royalty. And the eyes of the jaguar has a piece of obsidian embedded on it, which is the connection with the supreme deities or the gods. And the jaguar is on top, and there's the guy on the bottom, the Maya profile here, the nose and the mouth and the eyes. And here the Maya profile and the jaguar is the transformation that the sun does every day, because according to Maya mythology, when the sun goes down, it turns itself into a jaguar to battle the lords of the underworld. So here is the transformation. And then here, this is a really special piece. See? This is what is known as this I think lintel 15 from Yaxchilan, Mexico. And what this piece is depicting here is this is known as Lady Shock, which is here. This is Lady Shock. And what she's doing is like she's passing a rope with turns or obsidian through her tongue. So this will make her tongue bleed, and then the blood will be collected on the rope, which then the rope would come down and it will rest here on the plate or the lock in Maya. And if you see on the plate there, this represents the bloody papers. And this is the stingray spine that the lady used to pierce her tongue. Because the ladies, they would pierce her tongue and the men would pierce their genitals. And if you see, there's the guy known as Shield Jaguar, which is holding a torch, and he's the one lighting up the room. Okay? This is what I call masterpieces. This is stuff that I don't do every day. This is stuff that it takes a lot of time. And if you look at the Mayan glyph, that is really interesting because that is the Maya language. And this is where you have to pay keen attention, because if you add a dot or you take off a dot, then you're changing the history. So you have to be very careful when everything is being done, you know. So that's why detail is very interesting. And this is another piece right here, which you see here. This is the piece that I haven't finished. I started this piece like over a year ago, but I haven't finished it. It's not that I don't want to finish it, but time is not calling for me to finish it as well. So this is not supposed to be burned as yet, but this is a really interesting piece as well. Here, what this is depicting is Jack Zotz sitting on a throne with two captives below him, which will be sacrificed. And one will be sacrificed here to which I think this is the solar god, solar deity. And this one here, this is his mother, who's presenting him the headdress, which is the symbol of power and royalty. This is his accession into king that they're representing here. And this is his wife presenting him the flint and the shield. And if you see, this guy looks like a deer. See the nose, the eyes, the mouth, the big ears, and the hoofs. This is a deer deity. That's what this one here is. So this is a unique piece, and I still have some work to be done on it, but I haven't finished it yet. So I'm gonna be finishing it sometime soon. And you can see the profile, the Maya profile on top. There's a big Maya profile. That's like the God watching everything that's happening down below. So this is a nice one, really beautiful. The detail is really impressive. That's what I really love, the detail. And then also here, this is another one here. This is another scene here. So this one here, what this is showing is like, this is showing two brothers who went to war, and these are their bound captives. And you can see their names. I think this is Jewel's skull, and this is another one. And if you look at the stone, everything around is natural. The whole formation of the stone around is natural. This is not broken. Like, this is natural. So some of the pieces I would do it for it to look like it's broken, but it's not broken. That's the way it is. And here, this one here, you see this one here, this is the calendar with the sun god in the middle. And we have the god of wisdom way on the corner here. This is the god of wisdom. And then here we have the jaguar looking straight into the deity. See? This is freehand stuff. Like you get this stuff from the head, and when you get the everything, you have to work on it, right? So here, what the sun is depicting here is like here sometimes in this kind of work, I try to depict or try to show some of the connection to where I am, because what happens here is that the sun in the middle is representing the sun that aligns here with the temple of Xunantunich on the equinox. And this is the calendar that it takes a whole year for the sun to come and hit the temple in the middle. So that's what this one here is depicting. And that's a nice one. And then I have some other ones here. See, like this one. This one here is a skull that's spitting out fire from his mouth. He's spitting out fire. And this one here, that's the god of wisdom. And there's my signature in Maya again. See? So you don't get to see those in every pieces. Most of the pieces of them don't have it. And then here on the side, if you see, there's the snake. There's the serpent. And then also, I embedded a piece of obsidian in the eyes. That's a obsidian. And here we have the medicine woman, the eggshell. This is an old one, the old medicine woman, because there's a young one and there's an old one. This is the old one. And this is the best example here on this piece here. This is the best example of the alignment that happens here with the temple. Because here you could see the temple of Xunantunich and the Mayan calendar around it. And we have the Maya profiles on the side. And here is the next one. And there's a lot of details or stuff happening, like this guy here who's looking at you with one eye, half of his nose, and the mouth. So the stone asks for different things. And here's
Jorge,
another one, which is, yeah.
we had a question about how many times the sun sets in this way over the temple.
Oh, the how many times the sun sets in the temple? This alignment over the temple happened twice a year. And it's amazing that it happens exactly in the 21st of September and the 21st of March, which is today. So this doesn't happen every day. It happens just twice a year. And how did the Mayas or who told them to align their temples and to do stuff like that? That's the big question. But I feel like lucky, and even the people who are watching, they might not be here, but they are connected to the forces or the energy flowing around through this media, which is the internet. So even though you guys are far, it's like you are right here because the energy is flowing right through this video here. You can feel it, it's happening as we're talking because the sun is gonna be hitting the temple in a while. So it's happening as we're talking. It doesn't stop. Nothing can stop that from happening. And here, this is another calendar with the Mayan temple of Xunantunich. And this is a Maya warrior. See? This guy is shooting up into the sky. This is another warrior here. And there's my name carved on it, you see? That's my signature, which means Castellanos, which is my surname. So if you saw closely, not all of them have my name on them, It's just some of them that have it. So this is the place, and if you see, there's the temple in the distance, and the sun is gonna be aligning in a while, like in an hour or so. So we're gonna be watching it. So it's really cool to share what we have here with people from around the globe. And if it wasn't for Miss Wendy and for Sean Smokovich Design, I think we wouldn't be talking and we wouldn't be doing this. So I want to thank you guys for letting me do this with all the people from around the world. So this is something special for me. And I would like to, Chris, can you get the scope for me, please? So I will see if I can you get the scope for me, please? The scope, the telescope? Yeah. So I will see if I can show you guys the temple in the distance from the phone, because technology is amazing. So I will see if I can shoot you guys and show you the temple in the distance so you have an idea of where we are and what's happening around here. So
Jorge, one of our virtual guests, Peter, was asking
okay.
if you had the ability to demonstrate how you use your very specific tools.
Yeah,
Are you able?
yes, I will be doing something right now, and then I will show them. And then I will show
Okay.
you the temple in the distance. See? So
Okay.
here. There's the Mayan temple in the distance. See? You guys see it? So that's the temple in the distance. So I will show you guys. Yeah, I'm here at the workshop, so I will show you guys. Chris, need your help, man. So I'll show you guys. Just let me get my buddy to help me out here. Don't worry, guys.
You got it?
Oh, come and check it. You, I want you. Yeah. Wanted to set the camera, so they want to see how I'm doing the artwork. So can you like put the camera to the see like here? Can hold it.
You got that?
Here, record me.
He's got this.
All right, there. Here you go.
I got you.
Yeah. So here you are. So here. So if you see here, like here, I did the snake. I'm doing the snake, and if you see, this is the mouth of the snake here, and this is the ancestor emerging from inside. So like I would. You see this little trick that I'm doing here right now? This is especially like to make things round. Like you can just carve it and make the teeth come out, but then you have to make sure that you give the shape and the form that it's supposed to take. So like if you see here on the back, I cannot do what I did here in the front. But this little stuff that I'm doing here, the way I'm doing it, it makes it really round, gives you the shape of the teeth. Now to do the back piece, you try to make the eyes.
Jorge, we did have a question.
Yes.
Will was asking about where and how to view and or purchase your work.
Well, my work is I don't have a website. Like I don't own or I don't have a website. So the way I do my work is most of the time like people will contact me through Messenger or they will send me a message to WhatsApp. So the way I do it is um I would send pictures of what I have available to people, and then people would see what they like, and I will give them a price. And if they're good with it, the only way to get it is I would make them send me the money to a message to Western Union. So to Western Union, then they will give me the code they get, and I will receive the money. And when I would post it, send it. So that's the only way to get art from me because I don't have a website. So if they want to purchase, they can send me a friend request through Facebook, or they can send me a WhatsApp. My number is here in Belize. The area code is 501. So it'll be 501 666 9425. That's my phone number. So they can send me a WhatsApp, and I can send pictures to anyone of what I have available. And sometimes I have people who contact me and they want me to do something customized. So I would do something customized. Like for example, this piece here, this piece I was doing it, and then I had some friends who came over the other day. A guy brought some of his friends. So the lady that saw this piece like, all right, I want this piece for me. So she's from Hawaii. So they left the country already, but I'm in contact with them through Messenger. So I send them pictures of the work, how the process is going. And right now I'm gonna finish this. And here in the middle, I'm gonna do a 3D design. I'm gonna cut one in like in 3D, the shape, and I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna set it in the middle. So this piece right here, what you're looking here, what this originally is going to be, this is going to be a sundial right on the middle. So it will cast shadows on the different months and the different days of the calendar. So this is like a sundial as well, so people can interact with it. And here on the side, here is the moon, and here is the sun god, Kinich Ahau in Maya. And then here we have two spaces which I've made, but have two empty spaces. And when the lady who ordered this piece here, there were four of her friends who came over and they were enjoying the sunset here at the place. So they came and enjoyed the sunset. So here is the sun god, which the four of them, which are the four friends, sit down and watch the sunset. And then the same day when we were watching the sunset, the moon was right above her. So here is the moon that was above while the sun was setting. So the moon is bigger than the sun because the sun is going down, which is going through the transformation. So he's getting smaller. So the moon is getting bigger. And here on top of the moon, there are 5 feathers of the quetzal bird. And these feathers represent the four ladies and myself here, which makes me number 5, which is I was the one who spending some time with them. And here, this is the snake on top. And if you flip it around, here we have the God of wisdom, and we have here, this is the snake and the ancestor emerging, which we get the wisdom from. So this is something customized that it wasn't planned to be customized, but I had no work on the sides before they asked for it. So now it's being customized to their desire. And this is unique. Look at the pieces around. I didn't modify the stone in any way. So this has the original sides to it. So that's what makes their work special, guys. Is this the value that I give the stone, because each stone is unique, just like us. We're all unique. There is not another one like me. There's not a one like you anywhere in the world. You are unique. So am I. And so we have to deal with the stone. We have to give as much value as we can to each one of them. So this is what I do here. And there's any more question anybody has?
Jill was asking if you make your own tools, and if yes, do you sell them?
Well, I can send some tools or I can make some tools, but the thing is that with this kind of artwork is like for example, like I have this little one here, which I call this the needle. This is like maybe 1 centimeter width, maybe small, and this is the kind of tool that makes the real intricate pieces really special. You know, without this little tool, it's amazing. Like this little tool right here, with this little one, I won't be able to make those complicated ones, the intricate ones. So it's not the big tools, it's the small. And depending on the design that I'm working on, so is the tool that I have to create. So I have to be doing new tools every time. I have like a couple of them that I'm always using, but whenever I do a unique piece, I have to be creating my own tools. And like here, right? See this tool here. I don't know if some people might know it. This one here, I think they use it for manicure or pedicure. I had a little ball on the end, and my friend like, hey, Jorge, I got something for you. You will work. So I got this piece right here. And what this is doing, I turn it into a pencil. So now I use this to write and to sign some of my work sometimes. And I also have some friends who I've known for years, and they come from the States. And I know most people might be familiar with this tool here. This is a dental tool that dentists use to clean the teeth for patients. So they bring it for me, and I use this as a pencil. It has a nice grip to it, and it's a little bit lighter, which is good, but nothing compares to my pencil that I am already used to, which is the grinded down nail. The nail is the number one tool. Like this is the guy that I'm used to using, because I can hold it really tight and doesn't bend, doesn't break anything. And this is what I grew up with. And sometimes I would tell people that if you want to know when people did the artwork, because there's a lot of people who do work, but not the way that I do it. And if you want to know if people make it, you have to show the hand. Look at my hands. These are my hands. So you can know that this hand goes through a lot every day, when working. All the blisters, everything we get. So this is a hard working hand, and then there I have the left hand, which is this one. If you see, there's no damage to it. So this is the lazy hand. This doesn't do anything. This guy just watch the other one work hard. Yeah. So even scars, you can feel it in the hand, you know. So it when you start working with this stuff, it's like very addictive to me because I cannot stop. I have to be doing this stuff most of the time, and I have to be creating unique stuff, meaning very intricate pieces, because that's like how calms down my mind and calms down my soul. Like when I'm working those intricate pieces, I'm not even aware of what's happening in the world. It's like I'm suspended in time every time I'm working. It's like I don't. The world is out of my mind, out of everything. You have to have a clean mind and a clean soul for you to be working this kind of work. Otherwise, you won't reflect and nothing will be showing. You know, you're just doing something for money. I have to make money for my work that I do, but I don't do it with a price in my head. You know, I never do that. You know, so that's something that I believe that a lot of artists should be aware of, and we have to keep a clean heart and a clean mind, and you will be amazing at the results. You know, at the end of the day. Uh, and sometimes my work is like I compare this work like I'm a farmer as well. I do a little planting, so I've been working for so long, for years. This stuff is like now the tree that I planted long time ago is starting to bear some fruit. So that's like me selling my artwork to people and me being known is like the fruits of my work is being paid is paying off after so many years because it's like I'm here in Belize, right? And I've been doing this for so long that I've been contacting government officials and all this stuff, and they always closing doors at you. You know, they're not there to support. Even people who are in organizations and stuff, I've been looking at them and they don't want to support. Why I don't know, and they should be happy that there's someone who's representing the country at a level that nobody's doing. You know, and I'm happy for it. So at the end of the day, it's not those people that decide what's supposed to be happening with my slate or my artwork. It's people like you guys who support the work that keep this tradition and the stuff going, you know. So like it's the people that keep me going. It's not these people who I go see for them to give me a position. And the way that they do it when they close doors at me, it tells me that I'm doing something good. So I keep going. You know, it might take a time, but I have to do it. You know, that doesn't discourage me from doing my work. So I hope people understand that this comes from the heart. This artwork comes from the heart, you know. This is something really special to me because it's like the whole burden of Maya civilization is behind my back. I'm responsible for them. So I have to show the level of artwork. I have to show it. And people know it and they can see it, you know, when they see it. So I'm happy, you know. I'm really appreciated. Maybe someone will buy a piece at the end of the day, which will help a lot. And I'm always thankful, you know, for everything that's happening, you know. So really, really grateful, you know, with people.
For folks that were interested in watching that alignment occur, how close is the sun to the temple at this time? I know we're a little bit early.
Yeah, well, let me see, because we've been watching it for a whole day right now. Oh, you won't believe that we had clouds earlier. There were some clouds because it's amazing that look. There is the next thing that I couldn't explain to people is like I'm surprised at what the Mayas did. You're talking about the alignment. This is something big here. That whenever some of you guys who might be connected or might be watching from places all across the world, remember, guys, I'm here in Belize, and this is like a part of your family. I will be like part of your family when you guys come. I would love for people to see this because looking at it through through a scope or through webinar, it's still you could feel the connection. But when you see it with your own eyes, it's something like I've seen this like I've seen it more than 10 times, I think, because it happens twice a year. And I wasn't conscious of this even when I was a little kid growing up. I'd never thought in my wildest dream that there's something like this here in our own backyard in Belize, right? So for me to share this with the world is something amazing, and it's gonna be happening maybe in like 45 minutes. It's like 15 minutes past 5 here right now. So around 6, I think that's the sunset, and it's clear. So we're gonna see today. These people are up for a surprise. Yes.
We had another question. You had
Yeah.
mentioned that the slate varies in hardness depending on where you are sourcing it.
Yes, yes.
Our director, Sarah Kajowski, is wondering, does it vary in color also?
Oh yeah, it varies in color as well. The 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 darker the color of the stone, the harder it gets. Like black, this black stones is really hard. And there's a place here in like where I go to quarry the stones at the mountain. There's even a resort which is named after the place. The name of the resort is Black Rock, and they name it Black Rock because of the amount of stone of slate that's down there at the river. When you look at the stones at the river, they look black, so they call it Black Rock. So and the ones that we have, like the gray ones, are like medium hard, and then we have the yellow ones, which are softer than the gray ones as well. But when I do my work, I also have to like guarantee my work to people, because most of the people that buy my work, they're always traveling. They're travelers, people who are traveling the world. So when I do my work, I have to guarantee the thickness. So sometimes there are some that are thicker and some I leave it thinner, because I leave the ones which are really intricate a little bit thicker so that it's guaranteed. And sometimes it's not so intricate, I'll make it a little thinner. It's still hard to break, but then I try to make it, because and sometimes when you have to feel the stone as well, you can knock it, you could feel it. If you hold it, you could feel inside the stone. So you have to make sure that the stone is like is good to work, because it's not. It happened when I first started. It happened that I would um I would be working, and sometimes I'm like three-quarters of the way working on something. When I see that it breaks, I wasn't learning, but now I know. So you have to know how to tap the stones. There's a part of the cartoons of Charlie with the chocolate factory. If you guys have seen it, there's a piece of the scene of the Charlie with the chocolate factory where the little kid is not obeying to her dad, and she drops where the squirrels are, and the squirrels tap on the nut and they knock her head, and oh, bad nut, so they throw her down the drain. So that's happened here as well. So we have to make sure that we knock on the stone, and we knock them, we fill them, and if they're not good, we have to use it for something smaller maybe. But we still, most of the pieces, they serve the purpose that they're supposed to serve. I know people might be interested in looking at the alignment, right? And that's something huge.
Yes, if you are able to pivot the camera to share that, I think we're all a little curious about how that is progressing.
That's something that's spectacular. I have my friend here, Dave. He has his camera. He has his big 6 mm camera. He's gonna be shooting it, and he's been trying to get this like for the past 2 3 days. And there's no way. Like the weather, this alignment is something special, right? Because you could wait for it on the day. At the end of the day, it's Mother Nature what he throws at you. That if it's cloudy, there's no way you can see it. The sun will set behind the temple still, but if you won't see it. But it's amazing that 2 days we've been trying to check it out. 3 days, nothing. And today, which is the 21st, which some people are here today, they're out here waiting for the event. They're gonna get a surprise, because most of these people who are here, they haven't seen it for in their life. And when people start to realize what we have here, they're gonna start to appreciate more, because we have to also try to teach the kids, the young generations, for them to keep track of this stuff here. I have a son. My son is 10 years old. I have a daughter which is 12. So I do stonework, and my wife also does embroidery, and she does some really nice embroidery. So we're a working family. And sometimes we have people who come here at the workshop, and I will tell them that I can have a lot of stuff to sell here, because people come and see my work. I can have hammocks and shirts and all of this, but it's not about making profit. It's about bringing awareness of the culture and the tradition. And if we want to do that, we have to take away our minds from profit. So like my goal is not to be a rich man, to have a big house and to own cars. No, my goal is for to bring awareness to people that the Mayas are still living. They're not dead. I'm an example of them. And through my work, you can see it, because I thank God for the gift He gave me. Because very few people, well, no one can do what I do, because my hand is unique. I'm unique, so no one can duplicate my work. And I'm thankful with the people who buy my work, that they share that love and the energy around the world, because it's going all over the world. And we have to bring awareness also, to most people that we have to save what is the people who are doing stuff by hand still, because you don't find a lot of people who are doing stuff by hand still. Everything's being mechanized, and you know, it's sad, but it's reality. So we have to do our part.
We have another question about how you actually select and remove your stone from the mountain. How do you quarry your own
How do I
stone?
quarry? Well, to quarry the stone is like I have to take a pick. I take a pick. So we have to dig a pick. It mostly is a pick, a bar, one of those long steel bars, the big long steel bar, and a shovel what we use to clear the debris. And it's like slabs in the mountainside. So once you clear all the debris and you start to see in the piece of the slate, it's like once you get the first piece out, it's like they're in tiles. They just start coming out one by one, start coming out, and they're not, when they come out, they're not perfectly flat. They're somewhere thick. So we have to take our time and fix it with the machete. That's where we take the machete and fix it. And sometimes we miss the stone, and I have here, which a machete got my hand once as well. So the machete, these are scars that we take, like scars of the battle. So like you never know what's gonna happen. So but that's how we quarried from the mountainside. And then when I was a little kid, when I first started working Slate, it's like I used to walk all the way back there with my foot. It's like 8, 10 miles I used to walk, and I used to take my little school bag with me, and I would go, and we would it used to be like a whole day job for me. I used to go and I used to fix my stone there, take my little machete, fix the little stones, and when I fixed the little stones, I would sandpaper it and bring them in the bag stacked up. So I would bring sometimes like 7, 8 stones. I would be going back like every 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get stones. But now, like, we can rent a vehicle and we take a pickup truck and we can bring a whole load. And when I go get a load, it's like I carve my stone, so it's like I don't have to go back every time, because here in Belize there is something happening that a lot of people don't know, right? There is something happening. That's why I decided to keep the tradition going. Is like there is a kind of artwork that people are doing that is called the scratch carvings. They will take the slate. You can take the slate. You can sandpaper it really smooth to take get smooth. And then what you can do is after you sandpaper it and it's so smooth, you will take the polish, the shoe polish, and the liquid shoe polish. So you would paint it on top. After you paint it, then you can come, because once you polish the stone absorb the polish, and then you would use the wax polish and wax on top of the liquid, and then you just come with the nail and you just scratch on it as you're etching or drying on top of that. Everything is coming out, the designs, everything is coming out. So people, instead of carving the months here, instead of carving them, they would be scratched on the stone. So people would buy a piece. Sometimes people would be paying for a piece of stone and not for a piece of art. And that's the difference. We have to be aware. And a lot of people don't know. They come to Belize and they want to help and getting something authentic. They want to support the locals, and they don't know what they're getting is instead of helping, it destroying the culture. Because when you buy a piece of stone that is scratched, you're encouraging people to do it. And there's such a big demand for it that you can see it everywhere you go here in Belize. You can see it in the market on Saturdays. You can see it in the gift shops. You can see it in most sites where you go. But the kind of work that I have here in my workshop, you'd be surprised. You don't find that even in the best gift shops, in the best gift shops of Belize. And that's a statement. I'm not playing, because I go to those gift shops personally and meet even the owners and tell them that and show them the kind of work that I have. And they are not interested. Well, they would love to have it in their place, but everyone is in this for a profit. So when I go to these places, these people, they want to price your work without knowing how hard it is to make it. And even though I'm trying to save the culture, I cannot just give my work away, because it takes time. So I cannot do that. So it's like a battle in between. Like I never know when or where my next dollar is gonna come. If you see where I'm positioned on the hilltop here, I'm like in the middle of nowhere, and it's just because of God send the people, and other friends sometimes that bring people along. That's how things are happening here. But it's not like I'm getting support from a lot of people. It's not like that. And you will also be surprised that there's a lot of people that follows me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm known as Jorge Castellanos 74 on Instagram, and you can follow me on Facebook. And I would post Sometimes I'm working on a piece and I would just post a picture of what I'm working on, and I would get a message from someone asking what I'm doing. Is it sold or somebody asked for it? And then I would give them a price if they want it. The next thing I know, I will be mailing those pieces out to the states, different parts of the world.
We have a question about how your art carving in stone, how did you learn? How was that passed down to you? And do you participate in traditions passing on to your own children or locals in your
Well,
area?
it's amazing how I got into this into the art work because my grandmother used to have a farm, so we used to have a farm, and on the farm there was a lot of fruits, and the fruits on the farm, my grandmother would used to she would used to give me fruits and stuff, and I would sell them. So when I grew up, we grew up poor. It's not like I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I grew up poor. So from the farm is we used to live from the farm, what the farm had. And this time there was a lot of oranges in the farm. So my grandmother gave me the bucket of oranges, and that's how I reached down to the ferry at the riverside to cross over to Xunantunich. And when I went down there were two families who were working artwork at the time. One of them was on the boat. Each family was on opposite side of the river. There were the Canos brothers and the Panti family. Those are the people who I know started the artwork slate here, stone carving in the village. So I went to sell my oranges, and when my oranges are finished, like I don't have anything to do, so I stay with the guy that are selling artwork, and I help him over. And people used to like to support me because I'm like a little kid, so they, oh, we will help this little kid, so they buy something. So the guy said that, oh, if we have this kid here, we will be selling. So they kept me. They're like, come, I want you to come and help us. So I would go. But then I was seeing their work, and I'm like, man, this is beautiful work what they were doing, right? It wasn't work like the what I'm doing now, but for me it was something amazing because I never seen somebody work the stone, and that's how I got attracted to it. And that's how I also learned English is down at the riverside at the ferry. That's where I learned English. I didn't learn in school. I learned down at the riverside from people buying from me. I didn't understand something, and they would tell me an introduction. And when I saw I'm talking English, and people are surprised sometimes, oh, you talk really good English. But I learned down at the ferry and from people like you guys, who are always willing to help. And that's how I got introduced into the artwork. And ever since that day that I started doing it, I haven't stopped. It's taken over 25 years, and I've dedicated most half of my life doing that stuff. And that's why you could see the results in the work that I do. Because if I haven't continued doing what I'm doing from a young age, I wouldn't be where I am. Or if I wouldn't have decided to do like what most people do, which is the scratch carvings, I wouldn't be here as well because people wouldn't pay me attention to my work. So it's a gift that I have, and I'm glad to share with the world. I'm thankful with the people. I'm grateful for all the patrons and people who support my work because it's them that have this stuff going. It's not me because I can make it. If no one's buying it, then this stuff, the wheel stops spinning. So, you know.
We had another question. If the temple itself is there slate? Is the temple made with slate?
No, the temple is made mostly of limestone, but the Mayas in the different parts of Belize, and people have come across and they have found also a lot of pieces of slate. Like for example, inside the ATM cave, one with Xunantunich Mayan, which is one of the top 10 destinations right now in the world. People coming to Belize are flocking to Belize to go into this cave. So inside that cave, there are pieces of slate that the Mayas worked back in the days that they brought in the cave. They brought it in the cave from way back in the time. So yeah, the Mayas were also doing slate, and there's also one of the biggest stelas in slate is carved here in Belize. I think it's in Nimlipunit in Belize. It's a huge piece of stela. They use the hardest stone. They use the real black stone from the river. Remember I was telling you that there's the hardest one? Well, they use the hardest one. It's a long one of the longest stelas, and it's found here in Belize. They have it there, the museum, I think, of the site. So yeah, the Mayas were working in slate. But one thing that the Mayas didn't do in slate is scratch the stone. They didn't scratch slate. The Mayas carved the stone. So if we want to keep the tradition going, we have to keep it how the Mayas did it by carving it in the stone. That's why we know a lot about them because they carved the stone. Because if they wouldn't have scratched the stone, time and weather wouldn't have decayed everything that we would know anything about them. So we have to keep it in stone. And sometimes I tell people that they will be surprised at the stuff that they're buying, the piece of work, because when people buy a piece of work from me, it's something that you can pass on to your generation after generation after generation. This one rotten is gonna be there just like the Mayas had their stuff. So we have to give as much value and work the best to our ability to make sure that people can pass something great to their children, you know. So that's the way.
Dawn is wondering if you find that different sources have different energy that you connect to or like more than others.
Excuse me, how you say?
Do you have places where you source the slate that speak to you differently than other locations? Do you feel connected
Yes, yes, yes,
energy-wise
yes,
to some things more than
yes,
others?
yes, yes, there is. Well, like you see, when I started doing artwork, and most of the guys that I know, they would go for the yellow stone, which is the softest stone. So yellow, you can mold it, you can do anything quick. But then something happens with the Yellowstone. When you do work with the Yellowstone, it's really it's like porous, so it breaks easily. It chips easy stone, and it never called me when I first started. When I was a kid, I couldn't choose for myself. I went with the guys that this is what they brought, but it never called me. What called me and what calls me all the time I go back there to get my stone is the top of the hilltop, and that's where I go. I've been getting my stone ever since I started doing my own. As I getting like since I became a teenager, when I was not a little kid anymore, when I had a mind of my own, then I started going. I have never stopped going there. It's been going more than 15 years going to that particular place. And sometimes the guys who go and get stones from the place, they would cover the place because they're digging from different places to cover. I will take my whole half day or more than half day to clean the place and to make sure that I reach to those stones that I know that are down there. And those are the ones who are giving these unique pieces of work. So yeah, there's particular pieces that calls you. The energy is different, you know. But particular the hilltop, way on top of the hilltop, the energy is really strong up there. So yeah, it calls you for it.
I don't know how you want to share the alignment part of the evening. Are you planning to pivot the camera and catch the temple, or how did you want to share that with the folks?
The alignment to happen is like I have to move from here. It's gonna be happening a little bit down farther by the palapa. So I have to. I can take the phone and also with the scope and can try and pivot to see when the sun is gonna be aligning. But that's the only way to do it. And I hope that the service doesn't cut off because like I have Wi-Fi here in the workshop, and as soon as you start moving, it's like, oh, sometimes the Wi-Fi is not reached that far. I'll try see if I can buy a dollar from my phone and maybe we don't get cut off because I don't want to get cut off, which will be good because you don't want to get cut off for the main event when the stuff is happening, you know. Yeah.
I wanted to share with our virtual audience a heartfelt thank you for joining us and giving your time and attention to Jorge and his obviously unique and amazing abilities working with Slate. If you did enjoy this evening's program, you may want to consider signing up for our e-newsletter so you don't miss any of the others that we are planning over the next year or so. Or you could consider supporting the museum by becoming a member or making a donation today through our website, which is www.slatevalleymuseum.com. And you can contact me at the museum, associate at slatevalleymuseum.org. If you missed hearing Jorge's contact information, I will be able to share that with folks that are interested. And wait, we have another question here. Could you repeat your online name? Was it on Facebook or was it on Instagram? Could you give folks one more
Yeah.
rundown of how to stay in touch with you and find you online?
Yeah. Well, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm like Jorge Castellanos 74. That's Instagram. And then Facebook, I'm Jorge Castellanos. And then if you punch maybe Jorge Castellanos and then you punch Belize next to it, you will see me. There's my profile. I'm signing a carving, and there's a nice piece of artwork on my profile. So you'll see, you can see my work. And then the WhatsApp, you can contact me. I think the area code for Belize is 501. So it'll be 501 666 9425. That's my number. You can contact me through the number, and I don't have a website. The way I do is I will share the pictures of what I have available at the moment, and then I'll give people a price based on what they like. And if they're down to it, I will mail it to them. And the way to get the money to me is through Western Union. And if they send the money to Western Union, I get the code the same day. I receive the money. I'm sending it to the mail, and I just send the person their tracking number for them to keep track of their package, how it's moving along. and I haven't had a problem with people. I've been mailing pieces, and thank God that everything reaches safely when it reaches to people, you know. And I'm thankful to those people that support my work because without them, I wouldn't be here.
I think at this point, Jorge, we're going to wrap up the conversation part of things, but if you want to go to mute and just share the sunset, I think it's something that can happen in its own time as long as you stay connected on the phone.
Okay, so like share it through here, the same link. I don't have to get out.
No, you can just pivot your phone and share, but I was going to suggest you go ahead and put it on mute and just have it be a visual experience so you can have your evening back.
Hey, Harry. Yeah, yeah. There's some friends and people are here or waiting for the event as well. You know. Yeah. So yeah, good to see you, Harry. Yeah. So here we're gonna the event is gonna be happening in a while, and I'll show you guys the temple in the distance again. Yeah, for you guys to have an idea. That's the temple in the distance. Eh? That's Xunantunich there. That's the Maya ruin. It's really amazing, you know. And it's amazing that here I explained to you something like from here the sunset, the way the Mayas they planned this is amazing because the alignment is not something that it just happened on coincidence. It's something that was planned from beginning to end by the Mayas. How the Mayas? Well, the thing is that on the if you I think if you look closely or if you look at your screen to your left, you will see there's a line runs across the horizon. And here we're in the Maya mountains, and in the Maya mountains we're supposed to have hilltops like ups and downs, little tips of the hills, but we don't have that way on the distance. If you see it here, my finger is pointing. That one is too straight. It runs straight across the distance, and it's too far for it to run too straight. So I believe that the Mayas they flattened the hilltop, and not just the one on the left, but they also did it to the one on the right. So they did it on both sides. That's what they did, right? So they did it on both sides. So if you see there, this is the whole scenario. And they also did it to the one on the right here and the one on the left. And Xunantunich is right on the middle. And that's where the alignment happens. But the way to explain to people what happens here is like when I saw this for the first time, when I saw the alignment for the first time, I went into the internet and I did a little research and I found out that the Mayas built the particular temple that we see the sun aligning with, which is the Castillo or Xunantunich. They built it on top of what is known as Axis Mundi. And Axis Mundi is where the line of longitude and latitude meet. So it's like a point of conversion. It's a point of energy, one of the energy grids of the earth. So how or who told the Mayas to build their temple there? That's the big question, you know. And then the next thing is like, for the Mayas, Axis Mundi was the center of the universe. Imagine that, the center of the universe. So now for me to explain to you guys what we're looking at or what we have here is like, I have to explain it to you guys using a watch. But we have two kind of watches. We have the digital watch, which gives you the numbers, and then we have the analog, which is the one for the needles. So that's the one for the example here is the one for the needles. Okay, if you see the analog watch of the needles, the original one, only supposed to have two needles. One that is showing you the hour, and the next one is showing you the minute. That third little needle that you see roaming around that shows the second, there's no business for that there, but just the hour and the minute. So those if you see those two needles, they rotate on one fixed point, and the fixed point has to be precisely in the middle, otherwise it won't give you the exact same time. So here the fixed point is the Maya ruin, the temple. That's the fixed point, and that's why the Mayas told about it about Axis Mundi, which is the center of the universe for them. So the Mayan temple being the fixed point, now the needle that is giving you the hour is the sun, and the needle that is giving you the minute is the moon. So we have a cosmic clock here, also a calendar. amazing what these people did back in those days here, and for them to be coming up to do this stuff here, they had to have tremendous knowledge geographically and astronomically for them to do something like this. And I had a friend who was here the other day. He was visiting here. And when he was visiting here, I saw he was playing with his phone. We were enjoying a sunset just like now. And he was playing with his phone. And most of the time I see when he comes here, he's not playing with his phone. He's enjoying the sunset. So I want to know why he's not enjoying the sunset. So when I sneak up behind him, I see that he's playing with his phone and I see all these like little stars and stuff in his phone, like, hey, what are you doing, Mr. Ken? And he's like, oh, Jorge, this is an application to see the stars on the planet. So I came behind him and I took a picture of his phone. And you won't believe that if you guys check the application for Starwalk 2 or Skyview, which is to watch the stars on the planet, if you look at this particular one, which is Starwalk 2, on the phone, it has like a level that shows you the horizon in the distance. And it also has the little pin or the little needle that drops to like west, northwest, or south. And on the phone that Mr. Ken had, the line of the horizon runs straight almost perfectly with the ridge on the left and the ridge on the right. But what struck me more was that west dropped right, the pin of west dropped right on top of Xunantunich. So he was using like the latest technology available to us for us to see what I've been explaining to people here for a while. So it made me feel good because I've been explaining to people the right thing. And then someone had to come with a high-tech phone to show me that, yeah, it's true what you're saying, man. So like, it was like the last nail for the coffin, that I needed to know. So now I can explain to people in reality what we have here. But there's something even more like not strange, but I think it happens for a reason. When I was selling my artwork down at the riverside, this guy came to me one day and he's like, he came from the ruins. So he said, all right, I will see your work when I come down from the ruins. So like, all right. So when I see the guys coming, I'm like, hey, sir. So he's like, hey, Jorge, I want to see your work. But now I see he came to see my work. He wants to buy something from me. But I'm paying attention to his watch. This guy has a watch. I'm a kid, like 7 years old, 8 years old. So I'm like, I'm seeing his watch. I'm like, hey, sir, I will trade your carving for a watch. And he's like, no, Jorge, I cannot do that. He's like, for me, like, hey, sir, I will trade your carving for the watch. So he's like, yeah, and then, no, Jorge, I won't do it. So like, I'm like, all right, sir, no problem. So I told the guy that it's fine. So I called the guy when he came and he was seeing my work. So he saw my work and he bought something from me. And by the time he was leaving, the ferry was leaving, he came and he put the watch in my hand. So particularly the guy, he gave me the watch. He didn't trade the watch. He could have traded with me and then I didn't have to, he didn't have to buy nothing from me. But what happened is that the guy came and he put the watch in my hand. So he gave it to me. But when I saw the watch, it was not a digital watch. It was an analog watch. So I was walking around the village and everyone the people are like, hey, Jorge, what time do you have? I'm like looking at me like, oh man, I don't know because I don't know how to read an analog watch. So that's exactly what we have here. We already know what we have, which is a watch, but we don't know how to tell time. So we have to pay more attention. We have to do a lot of observation for us to pinpoint and see exactly what is happening here. Because it's amazing that not just the sun aligns with the pyramid or the temple, but also the moon does it. I've seen this, I've been here on the hilltop like for 8 to 9 years. And it's amazing that I've seen just twice. In 8 years, I've seen it twice. And it never drops on the same date. It drops on different date. But this is what happens. A guy told me once, which was my neighbor down there, like, hey, Jorge, I saw this morning the moon right on top of the ruin early in the morning. I'm like, what? He's like, yes, I saw it. I'm like, shit, I have to get up early tomorrow for me to see it. So I got up early, but I'm down at the farm. So then I came up to the hilltop. And when I come up to the hilltop, yes, the huge full moon, because there are days when the moon falls, it rises from the east, but when it sets in the west, just like the sun does, you know. So I was paying keen attention to the moon. So I came early in the morning before daybreak. So I came up here. When I saw the huge moon, I came up here like 4 in the morning. That's a scene that you don't get to see in movies, and you have to experience it personally for you to feel the energy that flows. But it's amazing to look at the huge full moon at 4 in the morning when everyone's sleeping. and the moon is shining over the Xunantunich Valley. That's priceless to me. So I signed the moon, a huge full moon, like 5 in the morning as day is breaking. A huge moon is dropping right over the temple. And as the moon is dropping on top of the temple, the sun is rising from the east at both celestial bodies on like the balance of Earth. I've seen that twice in my lifetime. So like I want to see it again, but I don't know when the date is gonna happen like this. I already know when the date is aligned, but I don't know when the moon aligns like that I saw that time. So it's something amazing that we have here, you know. I'm glad to share with people, and thank you, Wendy, for connecting everyone and for everyone to be enjoying this, you know. So you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
It was wonderful, and the alignment couldn't have been more perfectly timed. It was beautiful. I'm so glad it wasn't cloudy. That was fantastic.
Yes, everyone got to enjoy, and see it. So it's really nice. Most of the people around, they haven't seen it for this, their first time seeing it.
Yes, absolutely amazing. Thank you for giving us your evening and sharing this with all of us. And we did record this, Jorge. So you'll be
Okay,
able
Miss
to
Wendy.
send people to our website, slatevalleymuseum.org, and they can see this even if they weren't able to attend tonight.
Okay, then no problem, then, Miss Wendy. And thank you very much, too.
Have a good night, Jorge. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest
Okay,
of your
Miss
night.
Wendy. You too, and thanks to everyone watching.